started the scientific revolution? Quickly, as a reminder, first of all, if they want to seek knowledge back to the 16th century, they used the traditional way of thinking. By the traditional way of thinking, I mean, who's gonna help me here, guys? What do I mean by
The
the traditional
church,
way of thinking? The church or
the ancient philosophers.
exactly the ancient scholars' writings, the ancient philosophers, and these ancient philosophers came from Greece or Rome. So, if they seek knowledge, they will simply use these two sources. Examples of these two sources, the traditional way of thinking, the geocentric theory. By the geocentric, I mean that the Earth was in the center of the universe. All the other planets and even the sun revolved around the Earth. Okay? But after the discovery of the new land, after they got the idea that there is a new land over there across the ocean, and there are new people, new planets, new plants, sorry, new animals not familiar to them, they came to a conclusion that maybe they didn't get the complete knowledge. Maybe they are using the wrong way of thinking. So they started to think about establishing a new theory, a new way of thinking, and they named it the scientific one, based on reason. The two scientists or the two philosophers who established the scientific way of thinking were Francis Bacon and René Descartes. These are the two philosophers or the two scientists who established and adopted the scientific way of thinking. Again, so until they reached the 16th century, they used the traditional method, the traditional way of thinking in order to answer any question regarding life or even nature. By the traditional method, I mean the church, teachings of the church, and the ancient scholars' writings. The ancient scholars or the ancient philosophers came from Rome or Greece. Examples for the geocentric theory. The geocentric means that the Earth is in the center of the universe. All the other planets simply revolve around the Earth. Later on, when they used the scientific way of thinking, they realized that the geocentric theory is wrong, this one is wrong, and the heliocentric is correct, that the sun is at the center of the universe. All the other planets simply revolve around the sun. What do I mean by the scientific way of thinking? What do I mean by the scientific method? It's a new way of thinking based on reason. So they started to say that everything we know is wrong until proven right by using, of course, the scientific way of thinking. 5 steps. First one, to identify your problem. What's your problem you want to find a solution for? Number two, to form a hypothesis. Try to guess a possible solution for this problem. Test it. Record the results. Analyze the results to get a conclusion. If you are not satisfied with the conclusion, you can go to the step number two to form another hypothesis. Of course, after using this scientific way of thinking in every aspect of their life, they found enormous facts. First of all, they were interested in astronomy because for them it's a big mystery. And until now, by the way, it's a mystery for us. We have simply, if we can simply do the math, I can say the percentage. We know only 5% of something called the outer space. The other 95, we simply have no idea yet about it. Copernicus. Copernicus came from Poland. We have reached this part yesterday, right, guys? Or we didn't discuss
No, we
That's-
finished Copernicus and we were about to start Kepler.
Brahe and Kepler. Okay. So, Copernicus, after spending years of observation, he noticed that the geocentric theory is wrong. By the geocentric, guys, I mean, who's gonna help me here? What's the geocentric theory?
That everything revolves around the Earth.
Thank you very much. So Earth is at the center of the universe and the other planets simply revolve around it. Copernicus said that the sun is in the center of the universe. And until now, until that time, they have an idea about 5 planets. And the other planets simply revolved around the sun. Okay? And also, he made the first model of the solar system. What do I mean by model? Maybe you saw it before in the science lab, that the shape of the sun and the other planets in a specific order. This what I mean by a model of the solar system. This was the achievement of Copernicus. Okay. Of course, he didn't publish his achievements because simply keep in your mind the traditional way of thinking, guys, was adopted by the church. So anyone will oppose, will say something against the traditional way of thinking, this gonna mean that he is against the church, that he is against God. Keep it in your mind. So they were afraid. They spend most of their lives doing their work in a secret way in order not to be sent to jail or even to be killed. But couple of years before his death, he published his views. Later on, Brahe and Kepler took his work, Copernicus, and started to develop it and started to study it a little bit. Okay? And they came with an astonishing conclusion. They said, from their point of view, okay, that the sun revolved around the earth, okay, and the other planets revolved around the sun. Get it? Of course, this is nonsense. They said, sorry?
Can you repeat it?
Okay, they said that the earth, the sun, will revolve around the earth. Only the sun by itself will revolve around the earth. Okay, what about the other planets? The other planets will simply revolve around the sun. So we have two motions here in their conclusion. The sun, only the sun will revolve around the earth, and the other planets will revolve around the sun. Okay? And he was the first one to use the term supernova. This is an important, guys. Supernova. Maybe in some clear nights, you're gonna see a brightening star over there in the sky who will simply move quickly, then it will be vanished. Okay? They're gonna call it supernova. And until now, by the way, we are still using this term. Brahe had invented this term, supernova, a distant exploding star. Who saw a supernova before, guys? Have you
So-
noticed such a thing? Supernova, maybe in, of course, a star, when it reaches a certain age or at a certain time, the star will explode. Okay?
Okay.
So you can see it on Earth. Of course, we have some small stars, bigger stars, and so on. Maybe at clear nights, you can see a star moving quickly in the sky, then it will simply vanish. You'll not see it anymore, but it's gonna be too bright that you can see in order to see it.
Okay.
You can simply search the term supernova and you're gonna find a lot of videos about it. Okay, so here is the achievement of Pry. Of course, this is nonsense. Kepler, the second one with a strange mustache. This guy, he was the first one, the first scientist to say that the planets orbited the sun in an oval pattern or ellipsis. So he was the first one to say something about the oval pattern. Copernicus said it's in circles, and even Aristotle in circles. But Kepler said it's an oval pattern. Please, guys, keep it in your mind that they will not go to sleep, wake up early the next day, and they will reach this conclusion. Of course, they spent years and years in observations until they reach this conclusion. Of course, our famous scientist, Galileo Galilei. What was his achievement, guys? Galileo
Made the
Galilei.
first telescope and first to see Saturn.
Exactly. He built the first telescope. Of course, guys, keep it in your mind that it was not the first telescope in history. Of course, before Galileo, they used some kind of telescopes, but with not that accuracy, with not this distance. Okay, but he was the first one to build a telescope. And of course, after using this telescope, he noticed and observed Saturn in order to count the moons of Saturn and craters of the moon. What's craters of the moon? What does it mean?
The holes on the moon.
Holes, of course. If you have a closer look at the moon, you're gonna see it's bumpy, goes ups and downs, some holes on it. And also the sunspots. What is it? What's the sunspots?
Mister, sometimes the suns makes some hydrogen explosions on the surface.
Exactly. And he said, and he concluded that the Milky Way was made of stars. Okay? So, the achievements of Galileo Galilei, guys, the first telescope, Saturn, craters of the moon, sunspots, and the Milky Way was made of stars. Keep it in your mind because the achievements of the different scientists will be mixed together. So you have to remember every single one of them with his achievements.
Mr. Also the dates.
No, the dates are not important. What's important to me, their achievements in order to make it easier for you. Isaac Newton. Of course, when I say Isaac Newton, the first thing pops up in your mind will be
Gravity.
gravity. Exactly. But why do you think we mentioned gravity in the astronomical field? Because simply, yes? Yes?
Because the gravity keeps planets in orbit.
Yes, this was his conclusion after noticing the falling apple. He said, why the planets are not falling apart? Because of the gravity. What force drops the apple to the ground? It's the same force that keeping the planets in their orbits. And by the way, in order to calculate how the planets are moving and staying in their orbits, he started to think about developing a new kind of math. He named it calculus. So, because of this guy, you are studying calculus, or next year you're gonna study it. You are studying calculus nowadays in grade 11 or in 12.
11 is pre-calculus, 12 is calculus.
So, the accreditation will go to this guy, Isaac Newton. Because of him, you are studying calculus nowadays. Briefly, the achievements, every single one of them. Copernicus, the heliocentric theory. The sun is at the center of the universe, and he made the first model of the solar system. Brahe was the first one to use the term supernova. Regardless of this, because this is misleading pattern, what's important to me, the term supernova, okay, in order to make it easier. Kepler was the first one to say that the planets orbited the sun in an oval pattern or ellipsis, not in circular movement. Galileo Galilei, he built the telescope and he was the first scientist to observe Saturn, craters of the moon, the sunspots, and the Milky Way was made of stars. Isaac Newton, he invented calculus in order to calculate how the planets are moving in their own orbits. Until now, my friends, do you have any questions? Please, if you have any, be my guest. No, no questions. So I can ask. Sleepy,
Yes, yes,
my
Mr. You can
dear
ask.
listeners. Okay, Ranim. Ranim,
Yes, yes.
who was the first scientist to notice Saturn?
Again, Mr. Sultan.
Saturn. There is a planet named Saturn. Who was the first astronomer who noticed and observed Saturn?
Saturn. One second.
Starts with a G.
Galileo.
Galileo Galilei. Thamer. Yes, Bilal, what do you need?
No, I just wanted to answer the question, so.
Okay. Thamer Muhammad.
Yes, mister, yes.
How are you, Thamer?
I am good.
Who was the first scientist to say that the planets orbited the sun in an oval pattern or ellipsis?
What, mister? Again, what? Sorry?
Okay, Thamer. Nowadays, in the modern science, we noticed and we concluded that the planets are moving around the sun in an oval pattern, right? Oval,
Yes.
ellipsis. Who was the first scientist to say this theory?
That.
You are searching. You are searching.
No. Can't search.
I hear the keyboard, Thamer.
I was searching.
Habibi Thamer, I have just said that 1 minute ago.
I don't catch the name.
طيب, have a look here. Do you
Yes.
know in where in here? In which place? Right,
Yes.
left, top, bottom. Choose a place.
Top, middle.
Top, middle.
Kepler.
Wrong. It's here.
Kepler, yeah. Kepler, up and
Kepler.
down.
Yes, Kepler, because you
Yes.
have reached your search result, right?
No. I see it here. I read.
Thamer, Habibi, there is no need. Just pay attention. Just have a look here.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, guys, for the biology, for those who are interested in medicine, here they reached, but first, before the achievements of the scientific revolution, regarding the human anatomy, okay, regarding the internal organs of the human body, before, of course, because they used the ancient scholars' writings, they used to follow the work of Galen. Galen, he was an ancient Greek physician, okay? And he had some drawings about the internal organs. So Galen used to dissect animals. What do I mean by dissect?
And he used to cut them open and look at
He
their
used to cut them
organs.
open and look at their organs and stuff.
Exactly. So Galen used to dissect animals, and he said both of them are the same. Animals and humans are the same. So he started to dissect animals and to start to draw hearts, lungs, and so on. And he put it in a book. And of course, his work was inaccurate because simply there is no similarity between the internal organs of humans and animals. After using the scientific way of thinking, William Harvey reached and developed how the circulatory system functioned after observing the working of the human heart, how the blood is moving around your body. So the circulatory system, William Harvey, keep it in your mind. Another scientist, Antoine van Lavoisier. I know his name is hard. Antoine van Lavoisier. He invented the microscope. Keep it in your mind that the hardest name will be the microscope. Lavoisier. This is the important one. His title. Antoine van Lavoisier. He invented the microscope. Of course, after using this tool, after using the microscope, and by the way, this how it looks. The very first model of microscopes. Of course, nowadays, there's a lot of advancements happened here, or adjustments happened here to the microscope. Of course, after using the microscope, guys, Robert Hooke discovered and he invented the term cell after using the microscope, of course. Now, regarding Galen, regarding the human anatomy, Vesalius. Vesalius, he was a physician who came with an idea. Okay, instead of executing criminals, we have some criminals who have committed something wrong or something bad. Instead of executing, let's cut them open to have accurate drawings about their internal organs. Both ways, they will be dead. Instead of killing them in vain, let's get some use out of their dead bodies. And he hired professional artists to have accurate drawings. And it was the first encyclopedia about human anatomy in science, Vesalius. Okay, so he used the bodies of executed criminals and he hired some artists to produce accurate drawings. Until now, in biology, do you have any question? Remember that I will ask. If you want me to repeat it, I have no problem. Let's suppose that you ask me to repeat it, and I'm gonna repeat it.
What
Okay?
does the dissected mean?
Dissected?
Yes.
Cut open a human body
To
and
cut-
look at the organs inside.
To cut them open. For example, if the police found a dead body and they wanna know the reason why this guy is dead, they will form some kind of autopsy or dissection. So they must cut him open to have a closer look to his internal organs in order to find out why he is dead. So this is called dissection. Maybe you're gonna have if you we had the chance to go to the school, maybe I think during biology lessons you will have the chance to dissect animals. I used to see it a lot in the school that the students used to dissect rabbits
Frogs. I
and
think.
frogs to have a look at their internal organs. So in order to have an idea how the internal organs looks like, Galen was the first one, and he was among the ancient philosophers, the ancient scholars. He had wrote a book. Inside this book, he had some drawings, but unfortunately, these drawings was not accurate because he concluded that all the internal organs are the same in humans and in animals. So he used to cut the animals and to draw their internal organs. And this was the only reference available for doctors or for the study of medicine. William Harvey observed how the blood is moving around our body. And he concluded and described the circulatory system. Of course, guys, the circulatory system is the movement of blood in our body. Antoine van Lavoisier, he invented the microscope. Lavoisier, from his name, what was his nationality?
French.
French.
أو هولند أو داتش أو ما أعرفش اسمها.
Lavoisier. I didn't say W. Double V.
German.
German, exactly. Lavoisier. He invented the term. He invented the microscope. Sorry. Robert Hooke. After using the microscope, of course, he noticed and he created the term cell. Regarding human autopsy, regarding the internal organs, Vesalius, he said that instead of killing the criminals or the convicts, let's get use of their bodies. And he started to cut them open, he started to dissect them, and he hired professional artists to have accurate drawings about their body. So he cut the dead bodies of the criminals open and let the artists to draw accurate drawings about the heart, about the lungs, about the liver, and so on. So this is regarding biology. What about chemistry? What about chemistry? Robert Boyle. His achievement, guys, any contribution, by the way, any contribution in the field, guys, they will simply give him the title father. Father of modern chemistry, father of biology, father of physics, and so on. By the way, the father of physics will be, do you know? Do you have an idea?
Newton.
Galilei, before Newton. Okay. Robert Boyle, they give him the title the father of modern chemistry because of his achievement in this field. Lavoisier, guys, recognized and named the element oxygen, and he invented the first periodic table. But keep it in your mind, the periodic table that you are using nowadays, I think you're gonna use it next year. Next year you have chemistry, not this year, right?
Yes, and we took last year also.
Yes. Who invented the periodic table?
Many people يا مستر، يعني هو it was in many stages. بعد كده جه المودرن تيبل بقى، بس أنا مش عارف مين بصراحة يعني.
Okay. Lavoisier, guys, was the first one to invent or to organize the different elements in a specific way. Lavoisier. Okay. Do you need more achievements, more scientists, or it's enough?
No, this is enough. خلاص مستر حرام.
خلاص. This is enough. This is the end of your lesson. But as a reminder, if I ask Muhammad Omar,
Yes.
circulatory system,
It was مستر ثانية. كان تاني اسم. كان اسم في السلايد كان
starts
ثانية.
with a W.
William Harvey.
Sorry?
أيوة
William
صح.
Harvey. Thank you very much. ملهم. مؤمن ملهم. مؤمن. مؤمن, where are you? This will be your chance. The third, you'll be absent for today. مشهور.
Yes, Mr. Yes.
How are you, مشهور?
Fine.
Who discovered the element oxygen? The first periodic table.
Okay, Anthony right.
Lavoisier. Thank you.
Lavoisier, yes.
Bilal.
Yes.
Bilal, how are you?
Yes. Fine.
Bilal, would you please tell me who made the first encyclopedia about the human anatomy, about the human internal organs? The accurate one.
First one accurate. Vesalius, I think, the judge that.
Vesalius, but keep in your mind, guys, that Vesalius was not a judge. Vesalius was a doctor who used to cut the bodies open. Vesalius was not a judge, okay? There, because if he wanna use the bodies of the criminals, for example, he must get an approval from a judge, okay? But Vesalius by himself, of course, he was a doctor in order to know what he is doing. And I think, guys, it's the end of our session. It's 10:15 or 10:20. Yes, it's 10:15. So please, guys, please. Okay, please, guys, before you